How Rachel Bowman turned teaching aerial silks into a six-figure online course business. Coming up right now on the Rise to the Top podcast. And welcome, my friends. It's your great and good friend, David Siteman-Garland, DSG. Welcome to the Rise to the Top podcast. And this one was a long time coming here today. Rachel Bowman is going to be joining me. And, you know, one of the things that I hear all the time, and I don't know why I hear this so often, it's just strange, but, you know, it is what it is people saying, well, the only successful online course or digital products and programs are ones that talk about teaching people how to make money at something, right? And they say that's the only way to be successful is you have to teach people how to make money at something, right? Well, here's the reality of this, is that's completely false, beyond crazy falseness that I can even talk falsified here on the podcast. That made no sense. But the bottom line here is that is 100% false, right? Now, are there people teaching business skills that make people money, me being one of them? Absolutely. Do I have lots of students that do that? Absolutely. But I would have to say, more often than not, that the topics have nothing to do with making money. Right? It's often teaching a skill or an art or fitness or a lot of different topics. I mean, we literally have thousands of people that I've taught and that I've mentored and been involved with that have programs on everything from baby sleep training to kindergarten teaching. And Rachel Bowman is one of those that falls into this there's riches and niches category because she teaches aerial silks. Now, I'm going to tell you what aerial silks are right now because here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, DSG, how do you know anything about aerial silks? I got to tell you, I don't know too much, but Rachel has been very active for the last couple of years and created awesome online courses where she took this very tangible thing that she was doing, which is teaching basically Cirque du Soleil up in the sky, and turned it into an online course. And I think you're going to find this not only inspirational because it's thinking, oh my God, if Rachel can do this and turn this into a six-figure a year growing business online, teaching aerial silks, what could I teach that could do that, right? What's some really specific niche or topic or thing that I could do? And so you're gonna see a lot of inspiration there. And also you're going to pick up a lot of tactical information as well in this interview because we're going to talk about how did she grow her email list? How does she promote her course? We're going to learn all her secret sauce, what she's focusing on now. She's even going to ask me a few questions about how she can improve her business. It's all coming up right now. So sit back, grab your favorite aerial silk, and let's enjoy. Alrighty, so now I am joined by the one, the only, the Rachel Bowman, who was just, by the way, wed and honeymooned in Hawaii. Hi Rachel, how are you?
How are you?
So are you refreshed and ready to go here? Post-wedding, post-honeymoon, everything?
I'm so refreshed. It was just incredible. Yeah, amazing experience.
I love it. So, well, great to have you here today on the podcast. And for those that don't know, we did kind of an original interview before I brought the podcast back. This was maybe a year ago, maybe somewhere around there, after you had first launched your online course. And it was crazy interesting to hear about this. So we're going to go even more in depth today, and we've got lots of things to talk about. But let's start with the Cliff's Notes version of just give us a little, just a brief taste of kind of who you are and what you do. And then we're going to kind of run through some of the data and some things like that. And then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I am an aerialist by training, which means I basically hang from the ceilings. I mostly do silks. Most people would recognize the word aerialist more from Cirque du Soleil. So that's often kind of how I reference it. So yeah, I've worked as an aerialist for the past 15, 16 years. And the last couple of years, I've really kind of shifted my focus into more the business area. I also opened an aerial studio here in LA. And then, of course, started my online course with you, David. It's a little bit less than 2 years ago now. So that's sort of how I've transitioned from being a performer. I still do perform, but more so because I love it, into more of the business world.
And it's funny that we talked about this on the original time that we chatted, but it's worth re-emphasizing. I mean, you want to talk about a specific niche. I think this is one of the greatest examples of all time, because I remember I had to be Googling what an aerialist is, think of Cirque du Soleil up on the sky with silks, and also really pushing the boundary of what you can do with an online course, because a lot of times you would think if I was learning this skill, it would require me to be in person, right? Because you taught this in studio, but now you've brought it online. Is that something that you kind of had to deal with as you sort of figured out the online world with this?
Yes, totally. And we always recommend that people go to a studio first to start their training and learn the basics. And what we do is kind of take them to that next level, because there's a lot of people all around the world that don't have access to sort of ongoing training. Like maybe they live in a little bit more of a remote location, so they can't always come out to LA to my studio and learn with me and my aerial partner. So this is a way that we were able to really kind of open up our doors to the world in general.
I love it. And now, so we got to talk about the nerdy numbers. People love the nerdy numbers. I love the nerdy numbers because, there's so much BS online. Now, I'm going to read one number here because I know this number because I got it out of our Create Awesome Online Courses Facebook group that you posted in there. So I love this number right here is that first of all, your course came out in 2016, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much revenue did you do that year in 2016 just from your course?
First year, I did 70,000.
Okay, then 2017, I've got right here 127,000.
Yeah, it's actually totaled 140 in the end of that year.
Awesome, 140,000, and now we're in 2018. Now, are we looking to outpace 2016 and 2017 as well?
Yeah, we're looking a little bit more than 2017, but I'm gearing up for another big launch. So I don't want to get too excited, but yeah, it's looking good.
I love it. And so this just goes to show you, this is 6 figures plus in revenue that you've generated. Now, I have to start with this question because this is the critical thing when it comes to online courses. Because, does online courses take work? Absolutely. Is there a huge benefit of it? Absolutely. Do you get to work on your own terms because of it? Absolutely. You get to help people? Absolutely. But it all starts with the why, right? Like, why? Because, everyone's got a different answer to this. I'm always fascinated by this. What was your reason? Here you are, you're a performer, you have a studio. Why in the world did you want to get involved with online courses?
Well, a lot of my aerial students were from all over, were coming to visit us, basically people from, Germany and Australia and all over the place, Asia, were coming to my studio to train and then going home and kind of being like, I wish I could train more with you guys. So that was really what sparked the idea. I was like, oh, okay, we can't go to all these different places. It's just too difficult. And often they aren't able to bring us over, to be honest, to teach over there. So this was a way for us to really expand what we do. And then, to be honest, it was also a way for me to kind of look towards my future rather than relying on my physical body to always be teaching and physically teaching every hour, again, dollars for hours, as well as performing. And I still do perform because I love it. But at the same time, it's really nice not to have to rely on it and just to be able to be really free with what I choose because I'm able to bring money in from elsewhere.
Right. That makes perfect sense because think about this. You were just on your honeymoon, right? And in the past, imagine if your only source of income was, in this case, let's say performing, or let's just say your only source of income was you personally doing coaching, right? When you go on vacation, what happens? No money possible, right? Unless you're doing silks in Hawaii.
That's exactly right. Some of my friends, my aerial friends, actually did that while we were in Hawaii. And I was like, not me, not this time. I'm going to just relax.
Right. You get to enjoy more of that term of lifestyle business that we talk about that, some people think is a pipe dream, but it really isn't. At the end of the day, it really isn't. And what I'm interested in this is, we talk about this in Create Awesome Online Courses, and what you've done an amazing job of, which I have to give you major kudos, is that we have that saying, follow the system. You follow the system to a T. Now you're doing some cool, innovative stuff too, but I love how much you followed the system. Now, here's an interesting point that I wanted to ask you about because, you were in a niche, in a topic that was relatively green online, meaning there was stuff offline, but not too much online before you kind of brought it into the course world. And there's other people like this too. And now one of the research points for courses are there other courses on my subject matter, right? Now with you, there wasn't, but what gave you the confidence to know that an online course would work for your students?
I surveyed. I followed the system. I did the surveys. I found out what my audience wanted, and I knew that they wanted more. They wanted to learn more tricks, to learn more techniques, to up their game. So I had a pretty strong feeling that it would work.
Yeah, you know what makes me think about too, just off the top of my head, is that, and I've said this before to some people, and I think this is a good way of looking at it. If there's other courses, other experts, other people teaching that stuff online, that's always a great topic for people, right? Like, meaning if they're seeing there's other types of people. But what if there's no one else? Does that mean that the topic's terrible? No. What you have to look at, though, Rachel, which is what you did a great job of, and I want to make this kind of a grander point here, is that people were already paying for this just in a different way. That's critical, right? Because meaning they could come in and buy lessons at your studio. They could do this stuff like that. They could do private coaching. Those are also hints that an online course could work on that topic. That's what I see. Like when I see something like that, like, someone says, well, I don't see an advanced yo-yoing course, but people are paying me $50 an hour to teach them how to yo-yo. I'm saying to myself, there's a course opportunity there. Do you know what I mean? If people are willing to pay for the skill and in the topic or the niche, there's an opportunity to also sell that online. And I have to ask this question too, because if I don't, I'm going to get, 75 to 80 angry emails. Just kidding, but hopefully not. Is where did you build your email list online? What were your source of traffic and how did you kind of build up that email list?
Instagram. I really can't stress that enough for what I do, which is like a visual service. I really think Instagram is where it's at, and it's only getting more interesting with all the IGTV and the things that they're adding to it now. So yeah, I put in like a link to my cheat sheet, just like you do, in the profile of my Instagram, and then I'd send traffic to that and focused really, really hard on building my Instagram. And that was a massive source of traffic in the beginning. And then after the first launch, when we saw that it was doing well, we had some money to reinvest. Then we hired a Facebook ads manager, someone who I found on your page, the Create Awesome Online Courses Facebook page. Found him there, and now I outsource my Facebook ads, and that brings in most of our new leads.
That's awesome. Now, and you're sending the leads to that cheat sheet still. Do you have different lead magnets, or is it all cheat sheet?
Yeah, I've tried a lot of different ones. Yes, different like free video, a workshop, cheat sheet, different, 5 tips for this and that. Yeah, I rotate them around.
Right, which is smart. But you started with that cheat sheet, and this is an interesting thing depending on where you were at listening to this. It's always good to start with one. I mean, I want to say, Rachel, for a while you had that one. I want to say for a long time, right? Then you started innovating and doing other ones too, which is great. So you're saying that Instagram's your big source, is still a big source for you, correct?
Yeah, it is. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then Facebook ads. So that's kind of your two major traffic sources, would you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And how big is your email list grown to now?
It is 15,000 now. So we started out at 2,000 just from like leads from our local studio. And now we're up to 15.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think I saw here on this Facebook post from last year, kind of towards the end of 2017, you were at 9,000. Now you're at 15,000. And when you did your first course launch, you were what? You said 2,000? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, about 2,000. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an interesting lesson in itself. I mean, you're not telling us 2 million. Right? I mean, but the thing is, if they're interested in this, they're interested in this. There's not going to be someone on this list, on your email list, that's going to be like, well, you know what? I'm actually into doing backflips. No, because they're going to only sign up if they're interested in doing aerialist skills. So now, as we shoot this interview, I'm always fascinated. You're continuing to grow with the courses. They're getting better. You also have a couple different price points and different things. Can you kind of go over your product offerings and then talk about also where you're focusing now and how you're trying to grow the business?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I started out with Master the Silks, which was my flagship course. I followed the system, did my VIP launch, and then I did an excuse launch that same year. And then I turned that into Evergreen. And I've been playing a little bit with taking that on and off Evergreen when I do another launch. And now it's sort of back on Evergreen. So I'm a little experimenting there. And then last year, so first launch was 2016. And then in 2017, I introduced a second course, which really supports the first course in that it's about flexibility for aerialists. So it's the same audience, not changing that at all. So it's just basically another product for the people that are interested in going deeper into flexibility, which is part of being an aerialist. I launched that in the middle of 2017. That was a little bit of a cheaper price point, but it did really well. So then I've again been putting that on and off Evergreen as well. And then I'm actually coming out with a third course next month, which is all about conditioning for aerialists. So this is something, yeah, that people can do at home. And it's a way of like really up-leveling their conditioning so they don't always have to be going to the studio, or they can continue their strength training when they're not at class. So yeah, that's my 3 offerings.
Okay, now if we look at this. This is great, and this is a great lesson too. It's a great takeaway there of thinking about, what you've done, and this is what's smart, and this is why it's successful, and it's going to be even more successful. You stay within your people, right? You're not doing something drastically different. You're not saying, oh, well, I did this course for advanced aerial silks, and my next course is going to be about the trapeze or something, right? You stay within your expertise and continue to serve that audience in different ways. Now, your flagship course, I've just had some notes here, is $697. Is that still where it's at for flagship?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, it's $697, and then the second course, kind of the little niche course, is $297. That's what I have here. Is that right too? So, just curious, how did you land on those 2 different price points?
Well, it was a lot of research. What I did with the second course, the flexibility course, is I brought in an expert, Christina Nakaya, who's brilliant flexibility coach, who I have an absolute respect for. And I needed to sort of gauge off what her offerings were already. She was offering DVDs and that kind of thing at a lower price point. So I kind of came to the conclusion that because I was really going to feature her as the leader of this course, and produced by myself and my business partner. So that's why I came at that a little bit lower price point than I might have otherwise. And I think, to be honest, it really did work for us in this sense because we did sell quite a lot. We have almost 200 students in that course. So it ended up being, for this particular course, it ended up being working. Though I will always remember what you said is that you do the same amount of work no matter what your price is. And I have to say, I did remember that as I was doing a lot of the same work that I did for my higher price point. But at the same time, it really has helped so many people, and I've got incredible feedback from this course. So I'm happy with it.
I love it. And by the way, yeah, I mean, I'm always saying it's the same amount of work, but it also has to be something that works for your market, right? We're actually experimenting myself, coming out with some new workshops coming soon at a much lower price point than we've normally done, Rachel. We're actually experimenting with some coming out around the $197 range, and that'll be interesting to see kind of how that works, how people adapt to that, et cetera. So it's going to be equal work, but you got to make sure that it makes sense in terms of value and price for your particular audience. So where else are you focusing here in 2018? So you've got the third course coming out. Obviously, that's going to be a big thing. Where else are you putting emphasis? Like where, if you were to take your marbles and put them into a couple jars, where would you focus your marbles here in 2018?
Yeah, I have been really going deep into my next sort of year to 2-year plan. I experimented early in the year with an online summit. I think we were Facebook messaging about this, that did really well, where I invited in other influencers in my space. So other aerialists, they came to my studio. I flew them out. They came to my studio and we did I think it was actually a 4-hour summit, like a live summit using Crowdcast, which is like a webinar platform that allows you to take money, like tickets, sell tickets for this event. And it did really well. We had about 115 people at that summit. And so people that watched the summit were then able to take a replay, like download a replay and work through the content in their own time. So that was something that I'm really excited about doing again. It wasn't as much planning as doing a course, but at the same time, it is a lot of stress because you're like, oh, is the internet going to go out? Is something going to go wrong? There's always like a lot of pressure with it. But that was something that I want to sort of experiment with again. And then I'm also looking at doing more of a kind of a high ticket item that involves a live event. So that's something that I'm researching now. Again, trying to find that positioning, like how it's going to work for my market, whether I can get people from all over the world to come to my studio and, obviously pay to train for a week or so with us. So that's something that I'm exploring as well, that I'm interested in.
I love it. And now, do you see any major challenges on the horizon or things that you're facing that you have questions on, or anything that, I can also help with? Because it's fun sometimes on these podcast conversations that anything I can help with. I love offering solicited and unsolicited advice to folks. So I would love to hear. Do you have any challenges or anything that you're facing right now?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because I feel like I always message you when I do have challenges, and you're so great about getting back to me. But yeah, I think for me, the challenge I face is having my brick and mortar studio as well as my online courses and online kind of world and business. And it's sort of a matter of I see the potential with my brick and mortar business to sort of like potentially like license it or franchise it and sort of go out into the world with this sort of different business model, which is like aerial silks. It's still an underground market. And I feel like there's a lot of like potential, you know, when you look at the Soul Cycles of the world and these big businesses. So I guess it's just like, how do you, my question for you would be, how do you sort of like laser in on and not get overwhelmed by all the possibilities that are in your sort of business and your market, and how do you choose where to go?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I mean, I think it first starts with so first of all, there's endless possibilities, right? So let's just accept the fact, and that's true of really any business. There's so many different directions that you could go, you could try. There's different things like that. I think it really starts with really thinking about yourself. I mean, to a degree of looking at lifestyle results and what you really want out of it. Do you know what I mean? Because this is where I see people get into trouble. Sometimes they'll say, you know what? My ideal situation is that I can work on my own schedule. I can wake up when I want, go to bed when I want. I can stay home with kids when I want. I want to do this and that. And their decision on what they move forward has to be in alignment with that. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, right? So meaning what I always look at is kind of lifestyle first and making sure that's going to fit in with my business, right? So for example, I had someone come to me actually just a few weeks ago, and they said, David, why don't you start like doing a coaching program? You could do it, you know, you could start small scale, but then you could just do a few sessions a week and you could grow it up. But the thing is, for me, I like my freedom and flexibility in the middle of the day. I don't want to have something on my calendar. It's going to stress me out. Do you know what I mean? That's just me. Some people love it. I know people that are like, I love having things on my calendar. And I would say to them, God bless you, go for it, right? If that's what you like to do, that's fine. So you have to be thinking if that's the model that you want to go for, is more that franchising and going for that model, what is that going to entail work-wise for you and at what cost? So meaning, is that going to be worth it trying to, you know, travel the country looking for investors and franchises and putting up those systems? Or does it make more sense to focus on other areas of the business? Do you know what I mean? I can't answer it for you, but I would certainly think of the cost lifestyle-wise, and also what sort of, not your end goal, but your immediate needs are in terms of how you want to run your business. And so that's what I would say to that. And it's a tricky one, you know what I mean? Because it's one of those things, I mean, you have an interesting case where, and we have other folks like this too, and create out some of my courses as well, but you have a brick and mortar business, and then you've got this online business, and, you know, it's going to be tricky to kind of deal with both of them at the same time to a certain degree, you know?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And the other thing to think about too is do you have any employees in terms of online business?
I have an assistant. Yeah, I have two. Mm-hmm.
And then do you have any employees in the studio, obviously?
Yeah, I have about 15.
Right. So you also have to be thinking, not necessarily that that's a bad thing, but you also have to think about if you want to start doing more leverage. So one way or the other, it might be hiring. It might be looking at someone that can help you with your online business to streamline it more. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to look at about that in terms of, you know, kind of where you want to put focus. I think it's tricky sometimes to equalize your focus too, you know?
For sure. Yep.
Between the two things. So that's definitely my advice for that as well. And, you know, it's interesting to me, Rachel, is that what you've done really well with also with your traffic and with things like that is that where people get themselves into trouble is they try like 10 different traffic sources. And what I think you've done a great job here is on Facebook and Instagram. Is there anything specific that you could share with people that have worked well on those platforms for you specifically?
Yeah, for sure. With Instagram, it was very much like researching, like checking those analytics and seeing what our audience wanted, what kind of videos that we realized very early on that they weren't really interested in trapeze or the lyra, which is the hoop, or any other things that we did. But when we would post silks videos, there would be really high engagement and high views. So we're like, okay, well, that leads us to believe that people are mostly interested in silks, which is what my course is all on. Even though as an aerialist, you generally have to do everything in order to work. So that was something that helped. And also, of course, the hashtags, like really like just in the comment section, don't put it in your actual like post. In the comment section, do as many hashtags as you can that relate to your field. people are going to be looking those up, and then try to get to become the leader or at the top of that hashtag, which is something that we do. If you go to Aerial Silks, hashtag Aerial Silks, you'll see us generally in the top there. But that's taken years. That's taken like almost 3 years of like every day working on our Instagram in order to build traffic, in order to grow it and to get those emails. It's not easy, but it's definitely possible if you're consistent.
And what about on Facebook? So it was something like you, because you're in such a niche, right? Has that been easy or hard for your Facebook manager to target the right people?
Yeah, Facebook was a little more challenging. We generally feed our videos from Instagram over to Facebook. The Facebook Lives have worked well for us. We usually do them around the time that we're launching. But yeah, generally, I kind of let him handle that a lot because, to be honest, I don't understand a lot of the algorithms and things that go on there. I feel like I understand Instagram, but not Facebook as much. But we've been able to grow that. I think in Facebook, we're a little over 10,000 followers on our page. So we're able to grow that just through the ads mostly. But yeah, the Instagram's a little bit more organic.
I love it. I love it. Well, Rachel, I think I've covered a ton here today. I know it's just like semi-short, but I got to tell you, I think we covered a lot in terms of, what I love about this, and again, I've said this, you've done such a great job, is taking a topic in a niche that some people would say, like, what the heck is that? And you've said, you know what? I'm going to absolutely dominate this niche. And it's funny now that we're actually seeing now, I think there's more kind of aerialists coming into this online world that you've kind of paved the path for. Is that fair to say too?
Absolutely. A couple of them I'm actually mentoring, so it's been pretty awesome.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I think this is going to serve as a lot of inspiration and things for people. And by the way, I get to point to everyone now when they say the only courses that are successful are courses that make money. I mean courses that teach people how to make money. I'm going to be like, yeah, what about Rachel and Aerial Silks? Okay, my friends, they're doing backflips up on the silks up in the sky, and they're making it rain in a very different way, right? So Rachel, where are some links where people could check out anything, your website, Instagram, anything like that we can shamelessly plug so people can, one, see what you're up to, kind of follow what you're doing. And by the way, if we happen to have any advanced aerial silkers on here, they could come check out, maybe become a part of the program as well.
Yeah, well, my main website is womackandbowman.com, which is mine and my business partner's last name. So that's WOMACK and BOWMAN.com. And my course website is at masterthesilks.com. And then on Instagram, I'm mostly hang out there, not too much on Twitter, but Instagram is at Womackandbowman.
At Womack and Bowman. So we will link those all up in the show notes for you guys so you can check it out. And thank you, Mrs. Rachel, so much for coming on here today and sharing all these insights.
Thank you so much for having me.
All righty. Well, that wraps it up with the one and only Rachel Bowman. I just love her personality and just her perseverance in this. And she's really created this really cool industry now around kind of aerial silks online. And it's funny. We actually saw someone else now that's coming in and teaching it in a different way. And it's funny how sometimes we've got these trailblazers, and Rachel being one of them. So I hope you picked up some great stuff in this episode, some inspiration, some ideas, some strategies, all of the above. Love to hear that. By the way, if you always, you could reach me at david@therisetop.com. I always read all my emails from podcast listeners. Let me know what you thought about this episode here. This is episode number 21. The show notes are at therisetop.com/episode 21. So on the way out, a couple reminders. Number one is you can always subscribe to the show if you haven't already. If you just kind of stumbled upon us here, go to therisetop.com/subscribe. We've got all kinds of different options, from iTunes to Facebook Messenger to email, all kinds of stuff. Make sure to subscribe up absolutely free here to the podcast. And finally, if you're sitting there and you're not in the program yet and you're thinking, you know what? Now's the time. This interview, this conversation with Rachel was my spark. I want to get started with Create Awesome Online Courses and learn how to create, promote, and profit from my own online course. Learn how to build my list. Learn how to find customers. Learn how to put it all together. All the marketing, all the promotions. The number one program in the world, I can say with 100% confidence when it comes to creating successful courses. You could check that out at createawesomeonlinecourses.com/unlock, which will unlock a special offer just for listeners of the Rise to the Top podcast. All right, my friends, I will see you next time. This has been David Siteman Garland here on the Rise to the Top. And remember, if you want some fluff, you know what to do. Go pet a bunny.
I'm a beaver. I listen to Daddy on the Rise to the Top. Bye-bye.